Hi folks, sorry it's been a while, but today I'm going to talk about one piece of equipment. It is like a key part of my signature sound. It is a tape equalizer or graphic EQ. Now this I got for 15 bucks at a record store in South Philly like 12 years ago. Started messing with it, obviously doing feedback. The crucial thing here is that it has multiple ways out. So you can make a feedback loop between in and record, or in and out, get out through out or record. In this case, you have to have EQ record pressed in, and that's about it. And then you can shape waves using the GEQ. I decided to take it out of my system back here because it's a little hard to see what's going on there. I shot a few videos I'm going to incorporate. I also want to say sorry, it's been a while. I've been living in a bus, which is this place here. And I don't usually get electricity, but some friends in Providence were nice enough to let me borrow some. So I get to make another video. This is follow-up to how to make a modular synth out of garbage. Okay, so I'm going to start with very basic in to out. Same chord, using the going in the tape in, or in the line in and out, record out. And then the escape is line out. I just found that this is the best way that works with this configuration. I'm doing very simple, very direct loop, going straight back in. And then, when I got this, I only had this Behringer mixer, so I'm going to use that and just do the tape in, send it straight out to here, and we'll get a sense of how this sounds. So this is nothing else except this EQ, and you have to excuse some of the scratchiness. So you get the idea. We could do simple tones too, kind of. You get the idea. So obviously when you have something like this, you want to do more with it. Like essentially I want to make it sweep through all these sounds on its own. So that's why I started using the nano compressor. So now we'll do the next step and plug that in. Okay, so now here we go through this compressor. We're just doing straight through and out again. It's not terribly interesting. And this isn't really even the steps I took to get to this. Kind of showing things out of order. But it's a little interesting. get some rhythms with like a softer compression. This on RMS, and then go to peak. Okay, but really the thing is feeding other signals into here and then feeding something else into the sidechain. So that's where my little drum machine comes in. As we know, is this little setup, which is a EQ, similar idea. It's a, here, let me mute these for a second and just play this. That's just this. And this is like an EQ going through a tremolo, which also, you know, constricts the sound, and then it's going through this ducker to chop it up. So if I bypass the ducker, you can just hear that kind of thing, and then so one tip I would say is if you cut out somewhere in the middle, you get two different tones. And if you get it smoother, it kind of smooths it out. So, you know, there's two different tones. And that's why I incorporate the ducker, so it'll play both tones. Whoops. Now I get the two tones kind of separated. Alright, so we're going to throw this back in here into the main mix, and thankfully I just kept the plugs to the side. Alright, so far we've got, this goes through the compressor. On the big board, it's still going into the tape, and so we're Alright, so since this is kind of hard to explain, I'm going to take a sip of coffee and I'm going to draw it out. What do we have? We have GEQ going out into the mixer, into tape in, that's the mixer. Fuck. No. Where it gets complicated, because I don't just use the tape out. I was using, and you could do this, just the tape out back in, but then there's an issue with like volume control, where I wanted to be able to sweep the volume. So I do the control room out on there, and that. Alright, hold on. Let's just take a look. So it's going out to tape in, and then I can press a button for control room to get tape in, and then control room is getting right here. There we go. This is the key. Control room. These gray and orange ones. They are going to go out to the freaking compressor. Here we go. Input. In and out. Compressor goes out into the gate. Gate goes in to GQ. Okay, so let's put it down. tape in the mixer. And then what I do is use the control room. So this part is internal. Which is going to go out. I'm drawing two lines because it's stereo. This is going to go out into the compressor, and then the compressor is going out into two channels of the gate. So I do gate after compression, and I think that's very important so that you get the characteristics of the compression before it hits the gate. Because if you do it the other way around and have the gate before the compression, which is, I know how like the 3630 works and probably other compressors, but for feedback, if you gate it first, you kind of are cutting into the sweeping sounds and like some of the characteristics. And it may not seem to matter in feedback, but it turns out it does. Also, this way the compression affects the gate. So it'll, well, the gate I have keyed, so this is going to be keyed from an outside source, or sidechained, if you will. But my gate says key on it. And then the gate is going to go back into the graphic equalizer or tape equalizer. And there's one other secret, which is using another out into the mixer. So all this is Mixer Town. And this is going to go to aux return. And in this case, it's number 2. Make sense? Good. Okay. So here's that cool diagram, which totally makes sense and is good. And once again, the reason that we have it like this is that I could just send the tape to the main mix using this button, but then I don't have any control over the volume. So first of all, because of the setup going through a gate, I could just bypass the gates, or I could trigger them open. But let's just go ahead and bypass them. So it's 1 and 2, bypass, bypass, and now this thing is all lit up. You see when it's not bypassed, it ain't. So this is juicing. It's just going straight through, and we're only going to send it itself. So like we said, control room is going to the compressor, which we could also bypass. And that's going to the gate, which is now bypassing back to the GEQ, and it's going to the tape in. So right now it's feeding back, but we don't hear anything because we're not sending the tape to the main mix. And of course, as you cut things off in feedback, they generally get higher, which is why I like to have these sweeping effects to pick different notes. The issue I have with this is that I can't change the volume relative to other sounds. So say I have this little thing going, which, yeah, that's going. And then I play this, it just totally overpowers it. So my fix for that was having the control room, or having the GEQ also send to the aux return using the out on the back. You remember on the back there is in and out, play and record. Play is in, record is out. So I have in, and so actually let's add that on here. So this is record, and this is out. So that's another escape. Anyways, let's turn that little guy off. And so then the control room is going into aux return 2, which is right there. Wait, what am I missing here? Maybe I didn't plug that in. Dang it. It is that, right? Not one of these. Yeah, it should be right there. Sorry, this is what happens when you unplug everything and plug it back in, is some things aren't actually plugged in. What did I say is going to the control room? The compressor. The compressor's getting... Oops, I got those backwards. No, input. Input. Control room out goes into the compressor. Oh yeah, the aux return. That's the one. That's going into 2. Aux return 2, right? And that's coming out of the gate. Is it not? No, that's coming out of play on here. Oh, see, there you go. There's my problem. I plugged it into play instead of out, even though I totally said out up there. So now we're going to hear something. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah, wiring gets a little hairy. So now that's coming out of out, not play. Play's an in. Play is an in. And now I can control the volume without changing the pitch. So that's lovely. I can let it feed back with itself, au naturel. But what I really want, is a beat such as this or whatever to affect the compressor. So it's side chained with anything that gets sent to number 1 once we turn it on. And then you can affect the notes that it sweeps through like we were before. You can hear how it's, I'll turn it up a little bit. You can hear it's kind of picking out one note on here. So this is more interesting, right? And then the last step is putting the little gate on beforehand. And the gate here is keyed by anything being sent to channels 3 and 4, which is right now taking it from this delay, which I really like to do, because then I can have like patterns. So the sound you're hearing now is all generated by that little tape equalizer. Just being triggered by different things. So that's what EQ can do. And then of course, since I have it being sent into aux return, I can send it to a second send, which I think I showed you last time. I put into this Effectron, and then I can get other effects and the ability to send it back in line. And then next time I'll show you how I fixed this bass problem. Alright, be good. Oh, this is a really fun part, right? I forgot about. I can send other things to it. So, let's say number 2. The dangerous thing is if I send 3, 4, that opens it up even more. So let's say 1, 2. I'm sending 1, 2 back in. Why is that happening? Oh, yeah, that effect is going into. So now this is essentially feeding itself back in. This also works well for like recording stuff, like I've recorded regular things where I'll send them in through the EQ and then they get to be sidechained by whatever I put through, like a kind of kick sound.